ladies, gentlemen, and gamers. Welcome back to what is to be a great and lovely patch note review. So this week, we're on patch 10.20, which I'm assuming is after the World's patch, I hope. So I'm expecting not to see anything crazy here. In honesty, I'm expecting to not see anything at all here, but we'll see. I'm very excited for next patch. This patch, I'm assuming, is going to do nothing. Next patch, though, oh, mama, we got like 10 new skins coming, baby. New event, maybe 2. I'm so ready. I'm so fucking ready. Anyway, we got some new skins this patch as well. Oh my fucking god, I clicked on the TFT thing. But yeah, we got some nice dragon skins this patch, and I honestly have no clue what else. So, what does Trisha Momcat Tan say to us? It's just about that time to wake up because September is coming to an end. Hell yeah. We're getting closer to fucking COD Cold War. This patch is on the lighter side, just like I assumed. With most changes concentrating, tuning, champion scaling. I wonder if we're going to see Samira nerfs. We probably are, but let's see. Okay, Karthus. Apart from champion changes, Wales 2020, Clash is on its way to you. Oh, I forgot about that, yeah. Upon logging in this patch, you'll be presented with the new code of conduct. Oh, okay. So, hopefully they're cracking down on player shit. Because I'm gonna be honest, I've been playing no ranked and shit. Because I've been trying to get tokens. You know, token ends tomorrow. No more tokens for this event. Ranked and just League in general, I think has been so fucking bad. I've never not enjoyed this game as much as I do now. Like, I don't want to play ADC anymore. It's such an unfun thing. ADC's role is literally to just power farm, because 90% of the time your support is brain dead, and the lane is just terrible. You farm to do adequately and hope to God you don't feed, and if anyone else on the enemy team is fed, you just die, and playing AD is so unfun, it's insane. Unless you're duo queuing with someone, or by the grace of God you get a good support, AD is so unfun. And I could tell the state of the game based on how much fun I have on AD in solo queue, and my god, it's fucking terrible right now. The supports are trolls or just suck dick. It's fucking bad. But anyway, hopefully this might alleviate that, but I don't think it will. So, the new skins. You probably can barely see them, but that's okay. So, we have Storm Dragon Aesol, which is basically Ao Shin. It's him imagined as Ao Shin. Pretty good skin. Bay Dragon Ash, another Ash skin, great. It's actually quite nice, though. Obsidian Dragon Brand, or no, Eternal Dragon Brand, excuse me. He's purple, pretty cool. Just kind of a similar theme to me with Arcade, but whatever, new brand skin. We got a Legendary Lee Sin skin this patch, and I actually think this is better than the other Legendary, which was Godfist, I believe. Yeah, Godfist. I think this Legendary is his best skin. Then we have Obsidian Dragon Set, which is actually, I think, Set's best skin, and which, in a while I haven't thought this, but is actually better than his Prestige skin. His base new Dragon skin, is better than the Prestige one, which is quite interesting. And they'll be available on October 1st, which is probably a day after the patch comes out. So, there's that. Pretty cool skins all around. Not bad. But they got nothing on the skins coming in 2 weeks. Oh, mama, those skins are insane. But that's later on. Alright, moving into the champion changes. We have, up first, Aatrox. Aatrox has been pretty weak ever since the Conqueror nerf. He's been extremely weaker, from what I've heard, aka from Hashinshin, the pedophile who I think got ran off this game, but I'm not sure. But, yeah. It's kind of crazy to think how much fucking pedos are in gaming, but then again, we shouldn't really be surprised. I'm not one of them, though. Thankfully, I'm not one of them. I've been fucking harassed by youngins, but I'm a upstanding gentleman. I will not be harassed, and I will not be going against the law. I'm great. Anyway, Aatrox. That was so fucking weird. I've tried to convince myself, right? Because gamers, I love being a gamer, but being a gamer has negative connotations. It's like we're racist, we hate minorities, we hate women, and apparently now we're all fucking pedophiles. But I'm trying to say I'm the elite gamer. I'm not any of those things. Well, yeah, I'm not any of those things. That's it. Okay, Aatrox. Like I said, Aatrox is weak. The Conqueror nerfs hit him pretty decently hard, and even then he wasn't that good anyway. Again, his kit got gutted since they reworked him. He lost what made Aatrox unique, which was the res. You know, the res was what made Aatrox kind of. It was his identity, and that was taken away. And since then, he's been good. He's been great. He heals a lot. He goes in, does damage, doesn't die, has a decent amount of CC, and just fucking lives and does damage. That's his, like, thematic. But you have to work for it. He's like the better Mundo in a sense. You actually have skill expression on Aatrox, and you heal and you stay in the fight. Whereas Mundo, there's no skill expression, barely. You go in, you heal, you do damage, you stay in the fight, but Aatrox is better, basically. Not as tanky though, but it doesn't matter. They have to buff Aatrox. There's no way they're leaving him how he is. They have to buff him. He's super fucking weak. Let's see what they're doing. Our self-healing increased later. Okay, I didn't think his later game was a problem, but maybe. What are they doing? 50, 60, 70, 50, 75, 100. That's an insane buff. That's actually a buff that I think will bring Aatrox back late game. But his early and mid game kind of suck ass because the laning, most importantly, got hurt by Conqueror changes, right? Now that Conqueror takes longer to stack and you don't have as much cooldown early, you can't stack it as well early for the early brawls and you basically lose out anyway. Later on in the game, you have cooldown, you're in team fights, you're hitting multiple people, you're not going to die in an instant against, you know, a lane opponent. Hopefully you're not feeding, but later in the game, the Conqueror change doesn't really matter. But they're buffing later game, which is great. They're buffing it by a huge amount. But early game is kind of the problem for Aatrox right now. But anyway. This change is actually pretty fucking good, and I expect to see Aatrox at least played a little bit just to test out his late game. If not more. Braum. What do I think of Braum? I think Braum is pretty okay. He's like a midline support right now. I would say he's okay, nearing on the good side. But the problem is, everyone and their mother doesn't like playing him because he's kind of hard. And you only have support mains who really play him, and then even then, barely any of them exist. So, most of the time, people go play Lux or stupid mages and bot feed and then complain. So, I think we need to see buffs to tank supports. Any tank support here, aside from a couple few I could think of, are just, I think, going to get insta-buffed if they're on here, and Braum is no exception. So, what's happening? Q base damage increased, cost decreased. 25, 275. Mana. This does nothing. This just helps the Braum mains out, honestly. This absolutely does nothing to Braum. Braum's still decent, though. If you want to play Braum, play Braum. I like it. It's not that hard. And trust me, your AD will thank you, even if they're bad. Hopefully. Alawi. What do I think of Alawi? She's also pretty weak because she's so simple. She, in my eyes, is similar to Mundo, but better. Ironically enough, a lot of top laners take from Mundo, like, I use Mundo as the baseline. Mundo and maybe Garen. Garen's like a little more complicated, but they're both pretty simple champions, right? As Mundo, what do? You're tanky, you do damage, you don't die. You don't do great damage, you're pretty fucking tanky, and you don't die for a little bit. But there's other people who just do that better in different ways. Alawi's one of them. Alawi's more niche in that you need to have people around you to not die and do damage. But if you get that off, it's like, okay, you're doing really good. But because Alawi's so simple, she has no CC, she has a slow, but that's about it. Because she only has a slow and no dash per se, it's really hard to play her. That's why she's so simple. She's very one-sided. Because of that, I think she might get buffed just because I haven't seen her in fucking forever, so that means she's weak. If something is strong, the players will sniff it out, see it on all the YouTube channels of people saying, the champion's secret LP, play it before Ryan nerfs, and then they'll just fucking spam it in solo queue and I'll see it and get annoyed. But anyway, they have to buff Alawi. Passive tentacle spawn cooldown decreased. Alawi has been flailing around the top lane, so we're giving her tentacles more oomph. Okay. Especially post-laning phase. Let's see how this goes. So instead of being 20 to 12, it's 20 to 7.5. That is actually pretty decent. So, Alawi's main problem, I would say, is just having tentacles. Unless you ult. If you ult, the tentacles become invulnerable and they stay there, the enemy can't get rid of them. But before that, in lane, the enemy just takes them out, but you kind of catch them out with your E if they try and do that if you're good. Out of lane, it doesn't really work that way, and just to see them up more often is pretty nice. Will this push Alawi into being played? Maybe. Maybe a little bit. Not too much. A couple people might play her a little bit more. She is a tad bit better, but this is nothing to write home about. I think she's slightly better, if not the same. So, that's Alawi. Nice change, though. Karthus. Well, I don't even know how Karthus is doing because I don't fucking see him. But from what we read in the intro to this patch by MomCat10, he's getting nerfed. I don't know why. I don't think Karthus is that good. The fact that he's going in the jungle is simply because of his ulti and his kit a little bit and how he scales. But either way, I think Karthus is in a horrible spot. He can't mid. He can't really jungle that well, but that's the best he can do. So it's like he has to go there just by default. Ooh. Yeah, so he has to go jungle by default because he can't mid, and that's the best role for him. So basically, I think he's weak, and he's just pretty decent in the jungle because of how he scales in his ulti. Again, if you get fed on Karthus, you look like you're gonna fucking be really good. Or you look like you're really good and you're really a powerful champion, but you're really fucking not. You're not because it just looks good if you're fed. Karthus, if he's fed, looks great. If not, he sucks ass, and either way, he sucks ass. So he needs to get buffed, but he's getting nerfed. So, unfortunate. But what they're nerfing is 20 armor to 18. This is actually crazy. So basically, Karthus, I think, probably has the least base armor in the game now, which is ironic. He's a character who's now really incentivized to die. If you're playing Karthus, Riot wants you to fucking die. If you go mid with base 18 armor, you are getting shredded. You have barely any CC, you have no escape, and they really just want you to utilize the passive. They just don't like Karthus. This is so bad. A champion with base 18 armor is so fucking bad. It's insane. This is terrible. I don't think they should have nerfed him. What are they doing to get him into a comfortable place since he's been a bit overwhelming across the map, especially in bot lane? How is he overwhelming in bot lane? You just lock him down CC and he dies. He's like paper. This is such a stupid change. But anyway, get him out of the bot lane. I don't want to see Karthus. But yeah, put him in mid. He's such a cool champion. It's a shame that he's so unbalanceable. It's kind of crazy. Okay, Kassadin. Kassadin, I'm assuming, is going to get buffed. I think Kassadin sucks fucking asshole. I think he's almost a decent champion, but not really. And he's getting a new skin next patch, so I'm assuming they're going to buff him. So he needs to get a buff. Let's see what they're doing. Q shield decrease. Oh, they're nerfing him. That's crazy. What? Kassadin players in skilled elite are too often able to stonewall lanes and scale with their early defensive tools. And they have started maxing E first. So we're pushing Kassadin to invest more for a safer laning phase. Huh? So they nerfed the Q shield. Okay, this doesn't make sense, right? Well, it kind of does. Okay. Kassadin's whole thematic is he's anti-mage, in a way. His Q interrupts channels, right? So automatically, I see Katarina right below him too. Automatically, I think, oh, Katarina's ulting, Q her. That's it. His passive lets him walk through units, take less magic damage, and his Q gives him a magic shield. Ironically, I think a lot of what's on Kassadin's kit should be on Galio's kit, but whatever. Kassadin is supposed to be the anti-mage, right? The anti-mage that's weak early, scales really great into late game, but in my opinion, loses to AD/Assassins mid. Not ADC, but like AD users, you know? So, the fact that he's stonewalling lanes and being really good defensive early, I'm assuming that's just against magic people, because the fact that they're nerfing the Q shield, it's only for magic. That means he's doing too good against magic, which Honestly, at this point, it's a toss-up, because I think Kassadin, again, Kassadin's roughest point is early mid-game. After that, after you get, like, decently into the mid-game, you start popping off as Kassadin, but the hardest thing to do is early. Now, I don't know if Kassadin's early is way too good. I don't. I haven't seen Kassadin. I've only played him in ARAM, and even then, he's, like, crazy, but ARAM doesn't count. So, maybe Kassadin's early is too good, but I'm glad they didn't nerf his late game. They only nerfed his early, which I guess is the problem. So, you know what? I'm actually going to say, Riot, I'm going to trust you on this one just because I don't have the information. I'm going to say Kassadin nerfed early against mages might be okay. It might be alright. We'll take a rain check on this one, but I'm not going to say this is a bad change, even though I expected him to get buffed. That's fine. Okay, Katarina. What do I think of Katarina? Katarina is basically the low elo pub stomper. If you're good at Katarina, you shuck. High elo, I barely imagine she does anything because CC fucks her like it always has. That being said, this champion, unless it's absolutely busted, will never see pro play. So Riot is most likely balancing this for casual play. And when I'm thinking about Katarinas in casual play, I only ever see Katarina mains, and they do too fucking good. Honestly, I'm expecting her to get nerfed based on casual play, because that's all I see Katarina do in casual is just shuck. They have to nerf her. Katarina has risen the ranks in skilled and elite games. Wow, exactly the opposite of what I fucking said. Okay. Who can secure snowball advantages with early roams, so we're targeting her AD ratios to lower some of her early threat. Damn, that's a 25% nerf. That's pretty fucking big. Now, again, from what I've seen, Katarina does a lot in pub. In, early pub shit, so this nerf is, I think, maybe going a little too hard, but I think she needs to get nerfed. So maybe 0.80 would have been better, not a full 25%, but you know what? I'm not a Katarina player. I think Katarina used to be a fun champion before the rework. She's not now. She sucks fucking ass, so I'm actually fine with this. I think Katarina should not be fucking played, or you could revert her and that's it. I don't like the new one. The new one is too much thinking for not enough, I guess, payoff. That's the right word. So yeah, Katarina nerfed, but I don't think it matters. She's a little worse, and no one should play her. So cool. Kled. What do I think of Kled? I think Kled's pretty weak. He's never fucking seen, at least as far as I've seen. I've played him. He's decent, but he just feels weak. Like, I don't imagine Kled being good. The most, ironically, I imagine Kled doing is just being an engage tool. That's as important as Kled is right now. It doesn't matter that he could stick on an enemy. It doesn't matter that he does decent damage. It doesn't matter that he's a good diver in lane or out of lane. It doesn't matter that he has a huge health pool with Scarl. It doesn't matter. The thing I think of Kled, an engage tool. That's it. That's all I think of Kled. So I'm thinking he has to get buffed because he's basically a fucking one-trick champion with... Or not one-trick champion. A one ability that matters champion. That's how I see Kled. And I haven't seen him at all in top lane. Kled. Kled has been strong force in both mid and top lane. Okay, I think Riot's on crack or something. I have never seen Kled mid in like the past how many patches. I've never seen Kled mid. And I think I can count on one hand the amount of times I've seen Kled top. And that's simply because I played him. Aside from me playing Kled, it's been months since I've seen a Kled. And we're in COVID. People should be playing League non-stop. And there's no fucking Kled players. Kled sucks ass. Riot's on crack if they think he's a great mid and top laner. Top laner maybe, but mid laner, hell no. So what are they saying? Magic resist is lowered. Okay, so they just want him out of mid. This is basically what's happening. They don't want him mid, which is fine with me. This does nothing, though. If you're playing Kled, you're going to keep playing him. Lulu! Holy shit, they're changing Lulu. And I'm going to be honest, just based off history, right? Lulu is, in my opinion, one of the greatest supports there is. And I'm a Kog'Maw player, too, so I'm a little biased, but Lulu, in my opinion, if you can play her well, has almost no weakness. She has engage, kind of. I think her weakest point is her engage, right? She can speed someone up and polymorph to do a mass knockup, but that's if you want to really engage, and even then it's a little weak. It's not that weak because she has a knockup, but it's still a little weak because someone has to go in. Aside from that, though, she has peel, she has polymorph, she has shielding, she has buffing, she has attack speed, move speed, poke, survivability with the ulti. It's insane how much Lulu can bring to the table. A skilled Lulu gets me fucking hard. It does. It just gets me erect. Now, again, going off history, Lulu is getting nerfed. Why? Because she hasn't been buffed in forever, and I think she's still good. So the fact that she hasn't been buffed or touched really in a long time, and the fact that she's getting touched now, it has to be, by logical standards, a nerf. So what are they doing? Lulu has seen wild growth in the bot lane by helping carries out a pinch too much. Yeah, it's her job. Since she's both a strong offensive and defensive support, exactly like I said, we're toning down her competitive scaling on Whimsy in the late game. Wait, what? Her combative scaling. When I hear that, I think an AP ratio or something, right? Like, you're toning down her damage. Her combative scaling, aka her damage, right? But they're nerfing attack speed. And they're nerfing it by quite a bit, honestly. 10%. I mean, 10% isn't bad, but it's like, That honestly will not be felt, fuck it. You honestly just use, I mean, her giving attack speed is a plus. And as long as she has the on-hit shit and does everything else, this is fine. This really doesn't change anything. Maokai fucking sucks hard, asshole. The fucking rework was great except for the ulti. If they revert the Maokai ulti, he will actually be a good to great champion. I guarantee you. I guarantee you, Maokai, the exact same kid as now, which was barely touched up in the rework, by the way, all those years ago. If you get rid of his useless ass bramble line ulti lane stupid, it will be so fucking good for the champion. Just give him back his old ult. Unless they plan to give it to someone else or put it on an item, which at this point in all the years that it hasn't gone on anything, I'm assuming they're not going to use it. Give it back to him and he'll actually be a good and fun champion. Maokai used to be one of the premier top lane tanks. Now, he's a fucking clown. Like, you go him support or top if you're kind of trolling, in my opinion. But anyway, he's so weak, they have to buff him. There's no way they don't. And he can't even build the AP anymore because his AP sucks. So anyway, what are they doing? We're cutting down some of Maokai's brawling power to give his top lane peers some space to come out of the woods. Wow, I think Riot is smoking some hard crack. And they're nerfing the Q by 20 damage. I don't think Maokai is oppressive. I really don't. I think he doesn't die, which is his job. But you have a lot of people who don't die and do a lot more, like Sion and Mundo and stuff, than Maokai. I say Maokai does maybe a little bit more than Mundo, but not as much as Sion. Like, I'd rather have a Sion than a Maokai, honestly. But, yeah, I don't know. This makes no fucking sense. This change is retarded, and it does absolutely nothing. Stupid Maokai change. Nunu. What do I think of Nunu? I think Nunu sucks asshole, but he's decent. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's good. I think he's midline bordering bad. Like, in the middle of... Like, there's a line, right? There's the good line, there's the bad line, there's the middle line. He's a little under the middle line going towards the bad. I mean, what do you play Nunu for? Decent CC. The buff on the AD doesn't really matter. Because, come on, it doesn't. And you basically play him for objective control. And even then... He's not that good of a champion. He's alright, but nothing to brag about. I think he has to get buffed, because he's just, in my opinion, a little bad compared to other junglers. They do a lot more early than him. And he doesn't do that much late either. Again, he's just there for guaranteeing objectives. His skirmishing power is a little too strong when coupled with his top-tier gank presence. I would agree with that. And objective control. Weeding some of that strength as he rolls over his jungles a little less. I agree with this change, actually. despite me thinking he needs buffs, them nerfing this makes sense to me because his strength is in his jungle clearing and his objective control. And they didn't necessarily nerf that. They just nerfed how healthy he is, so he can't really fight everyone all the time. I didn't think when he fought people he won. Maybe aside from the first 5 minutes he might have won, but like after that, unless you're building AP, it's like you kind of just lose unless your teammate's there. Nunu can't 1v1 people. Again, unless you're building AP. So, I don't know. Weird change, but I'm alright with it. It barely changes anything except you're going to be a little less healthy when you gank, so I guess that's fine. His objective control is still good, though. Ryze. Ryze sucks ass. I think he's one of the worst champions of League of Legends. I'm going to wait till they rework him. I'm going to say this every patch. Whatever change they do, unless they overbuff his numbers, won't fucking matter, because they're just going to nerf him again, and he's always going to be a problem until they get his kit right after the 100th rework. So what are they doing? They're buffing him. So they're buffing him by 10 damage on his Q. This does nothing. I'm waiting for the rework. Sion! Remember how I said Sion was better than Maokai? I wholeheartedly believe that, but tanks in general are kind of ass. As evident by Sion's best build is lethality. It's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, tanks are so bad in the top lane right now because they just get fucked by bruisers who are decently tanky. Because you don't need to be a full-on tank in League. Yeah, full-on tanks are decent sometimes, but a bruiser will do their job of tanking up some damage, but they'll do their job better because they can dish out damage and actually kill people. Whereas tanks can only kill the AD, but who can't, right? So, they have to buff Sion. Sion is, like, fucking stupid. They need to buff him to make him, like, tankier or something. Like, play on his strengths. Don't give him, like, damage or some shit, because then people are just going to be wanting to just play lethality Sion more, and I fucking hate that shit. So what are they doing? Your damage ratio to monster. Oh, so they're buffing him, and they're buffing his jungle. I didn't think that needed help, but you know what? Whatever. I think actually Sion, ironically enough, is better in the jungle than he is in lane. I think Sion should be a jungler because he gets more health from the monsters with his W, and his ganks are pretty decent too. And the fact that they're buffing his jungle clear means Riot agrees with me, and I think this change is great. I think Sion should go jungle more. Top lane, he's okay, but he definitely has matchups he just either loses or just straight farms in, which you have to do in Sion anyway. But the jungle is so much easier for him, in my opinion. And it's really good to see that, like, they're kind of pushing him towards that a little bit more. So, good change. Urgot. What do I think of Urgot? I think Urgot's pretty similar to... Who did I say it was? Pretty similar to Nunu. Except, instead of being on the bottom half of the middle line, he's on the top half. He's like decent, bordering on good. So, Urgot scales extremely well in my opinion. His mid game is super fucking powerful, and he kind of falls off a little bit late game, but he still outputs a lot of fucking damage because of his passive and the percent health. And with the W change they put it in a while back, it's really fucking good for him. I think he's a really good, like, juggernaut. He's what a juggernaut should be. Like, scales well, does damage, is pretty tanky. The only other one I would say, or the only other juggernauts I would say are really good, like Urgot, are Garen and maybe Darius, but not really Darius. Unless you get fed early. Like, Urgot and Garen scale pretty decently into the late game, in my opinion. And I think they're really fun juggernauts to play. That being said, I think he's a little bit on the good side. Could he use buffs? Yeah, I think he could. Could he use nerfs? Slight nerfs, maybe, but not really. Honestly, even though he's bordering on good, I think Urgot still needs a little bit more help. I think he's going to get buffed. God, my fucking throat hurts. I haven't talked so much in such a short amount of time. Except when I do these patch no fucking videos. But anyway. What are they doing? Passive damage to monsters increased early. W modified damage now affects both minions and monsters. What? We're beefing up this beefy man's damage against monsters. 60 to 360, 100 to 360. Damn, so he does a lot more damage early. He does 40 extra damage with his leg. And then 50 to minions and monsters. Huh. Interesting. So they're pushing Urgot to the jungle too. I think Urgot is a pretty interesting jungler. I think it's a little bit above a troll pick, but not by much. Like, Sion, I could see going into the jungle, because Sion's laning isn't the best against certain people, right? Against a lot of people, he either goes even or loses, and only against some people can he actually win the lane. Urgot, I feel, is a little bit better in that he could win the lane against a lot of matchups and go even in a lot more than Sion can. And I honestly think Urgot's kit revolves around, you know, playing against a laner. It's weird to see it in the jungle, but I don't think it's that out there. It's weird, because I think of it, it's like, should Urgot be a jungler? No, but he wouldn't be a bad one. Because you just, you know, run around the fucking camp, proc all your legs, clear it, go next. I just think his ganks are a little weak if he misses the Q, misses the E, and has no backup to help him set it up. So I think his ganking potential is worse than Sion's, but I could definitely see him in the jungle. I still think he's a better top laner, though, but I guess if you want to flex him in jungle and be weird, you could. But this change is kind of weird, and honestly, it doesn't really matter. I mean, if you're going jungle Urgot, it matters, but I don't think you should be going jungle Urgot. But it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's pretty fucking weird. I don't know. Varus. What do I think of Varus? I think all ADs suck ass. I think most of them should get buffed except Caitlyn. Caitlyn should be removed. And wait, we're on V. Wait, that means Samira's not getting touched? What? That's fucking wild. I actually like that. I think Samira is super fun. I think she is pretty, like, if she's not great, she's at least good. There's different lines, right? There's the horrible line, there's the bad line, there's the normal line, you know, the decent line, whatever. Then there's the good line, then there's the great line, then there's the overpowered line. And those will change based on if I remember them. So don't hold me to those lines. But Samira is not good. Samira is at the very least great and kind of near OP in my opinion. She's not that OP, but she's definitely great. She's one of the best ADs right now. She is. But anyway, back to Varus. I think Varus is pretty stupid and weak. I think mostly he works as an engage tool. He's like the worst Ashe, right? Let's say you're an Ashe player. What are you known for? Utility, great late game damage, and engage tool. As Varus, what are you known for? Less utility than Ashe, but utility nonetheless. Engage tool that's not as good as Ashe's, but is there nonetheless. And tank shredding damage. Now, Varus can shred anyone, you know. At the end of the day, he's an AD, and if you leave him alone, he'll shred the entire team. But I think Varus is better at shredding tanks than Ashe's, obviously because of his W passive, the percent health. But overall, I think he's the budget Ashe that fills a similar but slightly different niche. So I expect him to see buffs just to kind of make him a more viable pick when compared to Ashe, personally. What are they doing? After a long time spreading corruption of the highest tiers of pro play, Varus has fallen and once again has room for buffs. Cool, so they're buffing him. Base damage of the E is going up by 10. This does not matter. The R cooldown is going down by 10. This also does not matter. This does not matter. Varus is the exact same. Okay, those are the champion changes. I'm really surprised they didn't touch Samira. God damn. I mean, the community's fucking whining like bitches, but come on. We're AD players. We need something that's OP every once in a while. Like, Samira is one of the little good things ADCs have gotten. And, I don't know. Just let us have something, man. God. And, like, if you CC her, she just dies. And that's it. But if she's fed, she's fucking fed. She can snowball. But anyway. Runes. Relentless Hunter is massively outperforming other runes, especially in skilled mid lanes. Yeah, because of roaming, right? Or is that the healing thing? No, that's the move speed thing. Okay. We're bringing down its reliability and reducing some of its base power. Yeah, this probably needs to get nerfed, honestly. Roaming is the most important thing in mid lane. So, if you can't beat your lane, you roam and you win. And you win the other lanes, too. So, 10 move speed plus 9 per bounty. which ends up being 55, to now 5 plus 8, which ends up being 45. Overall nerf, will this matter? Maybe, maybe not. People just love roaming mid. It might make the roaming a little bit worse, but I think they're still going to take it. So, Worlds 2020 Clash is coming. Hooray. Everyone get your teams and hopefully lose against me, because I'm going to hopefully have a team together and get in that and win it. Hopefully. Okay, no one cares about bug fixes, even though there's so many every fucking patch. And the upcoming skins we already talked about. So, that's it for the patch. Pretty decent patch, honestly. I mean, some changes like the Lulu change, I'm a little sad about. Some changes didn't make sense to me, but most of the time, I would say like 60%, 65% of the changes were either good or I understood them. So overall, because it's 65%, I'll give this patch, I mean, it's pretty boring, but you know what? I'll give it a 6.5. 65% of it, 6.5. So that's it for patch 10.20. But before I do actually go, even though no one watches my videos, I'll just say it just because I can say I said it. And in the hope that someone does actually watch my videos. The new preseason items came out. So if anyone wants to see my reaction to that as an AD player and League of Legends player for, what is it now, 6+ years, I can do a video on the new mythics and legendaries and all that. It's probably going to be an hour or so, and I might do it even if no one wants it, but if you do want it, convince me, because I might not do it, I might do it, but people telling me to do it will definitely make me do it. So, if you want to see that, I don't know, comment it below or some shit. But anyway, that's about it for the patch. 6.5 out of 10 Marc Merrils. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you in 2 weeks when we get the new Odyssey event. I'm out of here.